You totally said the Patriots were going to lose last week, the week before, and week 1.
No, I did not. I never said that. I never said that.
100%
You are a liar. You are a liar.
We can roll the tape back right now.
You are a liar.
Well, if you want to watch more of these type of debates, then you can watch CNN and the presidential debates. If you want more sports takes on Week 3 in the NFL and some Week 4 preview stuff, some baseball, hockey, basketball, and some MMA talk, you can tune into The Lateral, episode 10, right now.
You're a liar.
Hello. Welcome to The Lateral, and we are at an anniversary episode.
Yeah.
Episode 10. We made it 10 episodes, 10 weeks. I can't believe we've been doing this for 10 weeks.
I know. It's flown by. I will say that we seem to be dropping like flies. We're down to 2. And Little Monster.
I'm glad we have a 2-person, show for just for once. I think that's not bad. Just having a conversation between two people, between 2 brothers,
between 2 bros.
I haven't seen you since what day? So we're taping on Tuesday, September 27th. I think the last time I saw you was the Sunday. Did I see you Sunday?
No. I don't think so. You were working.
I worked.
And I was off.
That's right.
I think the last time I saw you was Thursday?
No, it always has been that long.
It's been so long. It's been too long.
Oh no, it was Sunday.
It was Sunday? Wait, what did we do Sunday?
You came over and we watched Rebels.
That's right.
The season 3 premiere, which we will be talking about in the LuZo cast this upcoming weekend. So be sure to check that out if you're interested in that.
Rebels, great show. Star Wars.
Great show. And great premiere, by the way, too.
Oh, yeah.
I really enjoyed that. And then we also watched Steve Jobs.
That's right.
Yeah.
The Michael Fassbender Steve Jobs, the horrendous Ashton Kutcher version.
No. And actually, speaking of movies, I've been watching a lot of movies recently.
Oh, yeah?
A lot of classics. So last night, I watched Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Mm-hmm. After you left, after we watched Steve Jobs, Evelyn, my girlfriend, and I watched Top Gun.
Okay.
And then I think Saturday night, we watched Grease.
So tell us, tell me, and tell the audience at home what you think of these
overrated
classic movies.
They're not classics. Yeah. They're overrated. So Grease proved to me that John Travolta is a freak of nature. Top Gun proved to me that Tom Cruise is a freak of nature.
well, we knew that though.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off, entertaining.
Okay.
Definitely. I mean, it's a solid movie. There's a weird part. Have you ever seen Ferris Bueller's Day
No,
Off?
I don't. So the last time I saw Grease, I was 9.
Yeah.
I saw Top Gun, but I think I was 11. And I've never seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Okay, so both actually Top Gun and Ferris Bueller's Day Off, have like these kind of really dramatic moments. So Top Gun, do you want me to spoil it for you?
Yeah, go ahead.
So spoiler alert, the Tom Cruise's like best friend / co-pilot dies about 3/5 into the movie, and like it gets really dark and whatever. And then in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, they're obviously skipping, but then Ferris's best friend like has this kind of crisis moment, like with like his dad's car, and he gets very dramatic and just like, I'm not gonna let him like stand up to me anymore, and it's just like very
over dramatic.
No, it's not even like an over. It's just like it's almost sad, like how like. It's kind of like adultish themes, like when this movie's kind of ridiculous with like the principal trying to catch Ferris on his day off, and they go into downtown and he sings on the float and whatever. So it almost felt really out of place.
Ah, interesting.
And then
same thing in Top Gun.
I don't think it wasn't out of place because they're fighter pilots and whatever, but like Tom Cruise just can't act to save his life. And then they have this really stupid like
Jack Reacher, man.
They have you think I'm a hero? And then they have this subplot of this like romantic subplot where he falls in love with like this teacher who's the same age, and it's just like the way they show like the kissing and they're like licking each other's face. It's really weird. Like no, seriously, like if you like YouTube like Top Gun kissing, the way they're kissing is it's bizarre. It's completely bizarre.
Wait, you don't lick someone's face when you kiss them?
And then Grease, for being a musical, the singing is horrible. Like my ears were bleeding. I was thinking, like, why don't we do a mashup? Like, why doesn't someone do a mashup of, like, John Travolta singing and Russell Crowe from Les Mis?
Ooh. I don't. That sounds painful.
I
That
mean,
sounds like it would be super, like, embarrassingly awkward.
Yeah. Speaking of awkward, actually, we had NFL games
Oh, we did, didn't we?
this last week, and as you can see, and as we say every week, we are fans, and we are New England fans.
Yeah, we don't even try to hide that fact.
We're not. I mean, we're fans. We're having a couple drinks, and and
Back to our beers.
back,
I mean,
some
apple
beer.
juice.
Apple juice. Here, cheers.
Cheers with our apple juice.
There we go. Apple juice, delicious.
Woo. But we did have some games, didn't we?
We did, and we'll start with the first game of the week. And again, we're Patriots fans, so we'll start with the New England-Houston game from Week 3. And that
What a surprise that was.
And that was an embarrassment for not the team everyone thought it would be.
Yeah, or at least us.
What to even talk about for this game? The final score is 27-0.
Oh,
And
my God.
does this prove that Bill Belichick is just the biggest genius of all time? Or
I think
are the Texans just horrible?
Yeah, I'm going to say I think it's a combination of those two things. So the Patriots, they always have a game plan, and the game plan is always opponent specific. Now that should seem like a very obvious statement for any team in a professional league of any sport, but the Patriots, I think, prove time and time again that they do it by far the best. Game planning for specific opponents, and they're always going to do the best with what they have. So third string quarterback, okay, we're going to run the ball. We're going to play to our team's strengths. We're not going to make Brissett make complicated reads and hold on to the ball too long. He can use his legs. We saw that on his touchdown. It was that 27-yard
27-yard touchdown run.
Beautiful run. Yes. By the way, he seems like a big guy. He's pretty light on his feet.
He's also fairly quote unquote slow. His combine time was like a 4.93, actually slower than Peyton and Eli Manning. But he doesn't look slow at all. Same thing with Garoppolo.
It's very graceful.
And actually, Bill Belichick had an interesting soundbite about speed in terms of like 40-yard straight line speed and football speed.
Okay.
So Jacoby has the long strides, and he's a guy that he might not run the 40 great in a straight line without pads or anything, but when you put the pads on, he's very competitive in running. And the same thing with Garoppolo. Garoppolo also had a 4.9 40-yard dash. Wasn't the fastest quarterback in the 40-yard straight line, but both guys have kind of showed some quickness out of the pocket. But yeah, I think you bring up some great points. They didn't treat Brissett like he was Brady or even Garoppolo.
Right.
They had those designed runs, and they didn't ask him to throw 40 times.
Right.
He threw 19 times and completed like 11 of his passes.
I think it was 11. Yeah, for I think just over 100 yards.
109 yards, and they didn't need to. I mean, the special teams, they forced two fumbles.
Special teams was awesome.
The defense never, especially after getting embarrassed by Miami in the second half, Sunday 4 days before, they really shut down Hopkins in that offense. Osweiler looked confused most of the game.
Yeah.
And a lot of those defenders was probably revenge from that Broncos game too.
Yes.
From week 11 or week 12 from 2015.
Yeah, McCourty actually basically in his post-game conference, he said the defense as a whole was very embarrassed by the second half of the Dolphins game.
Yeah.
So they made it a point to come out and play 60 minutes, which the team needed. They needed that against a 2-0 opponent who, at least we thought going in, against one of the better teams in the league. So yeah, I mean, that defense was great.
Well, and let's be honest, that probably still is the favorite in the South, the AFC South, to win that division.
That's true.
You look at the Colts. I mean, I know they had the comeback win. Jacksonville. Everyone thought this could be the year. It's not looking that way. And the Titans are still. I mean, they're still a young team, and they still can't get really anything outside of Mariota on offense. So,
right.
I don't know. They drafted Derrick Henry, but I know he hasn't done a lot. And then you have Dorial Green-Beckham, the former Titan wide receiver in Philadelphia, lighting up. And we'll get to that later. But,
oh, my goodness.
It's just unfortunate. And, we've talked a lot about the Patriots, but, speaking of the Texans, being those AFC South favorites, how bad did they look?
I mean, going against this team, they really should have been going after it on defense, and
Let the league in sacks coming into this game.
Dominant, going into the game, the narrative is dominant front seven, probably the best front seven in football.
Yeah,
and
one of them at least.
Yeah, and honestly, it was. You know how many times I heard J.J. Watt's name called during the game? 0. He was a not. I've never seen a star player of his caliber taken out of the game so thoroughly. At least there's usually a tackle made or something. Maybe he did make a tackle, but I didn't hear his name called.
But I don't know if you've noticed, every time the Patriots play with Texans, J.J. Watt's name
never gets called.
It never gets called, but they just know how to stop him, which
Yeah.
kind of brings into question that whole how elite is this guy when, facing an elite team, he does nothing. Does he just beat up on...
So I have a question on that.
Sure.
Then. Is it against other elite teams as well that he kind of disappears?
I don't know about that, but I just feel like Watt...
Against the Patriots, though.
I feel like Watt is a guy... I don't follow the Texans close enough to make a conclusion on that, but I just feel like he's a guy that gets his stats in bunches, and he's a big stats guy. Like, it's a big stats guy. 20.5 sacks this year, 20.5 this year, 3 picks, and
the second fastest player to 100 career sacks.
I believe so. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know, like, how good is this guy? What in the big playoff moments does he show up? No, not really. That's a whole other debate about football players and Hall of Fame, credentials, and like if you're really a defensive player of the year and whatnot. I mean, if you told me J.J. Watt is a 3-time defensive player of the year and he gives a performance like that consistently to an elite team like the Patriots, I would say you're bananas.
Right.
Speaking, and then the other big thing about Watt that was just really announced today, according to Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network, he re-injured his back on Thursday. So maybe to cut him some slack a little bit, not playing 100%. Obviously, he came back from the back, but he apparently re-injured it and will be out for the majority, if not the rest of the year. Allegedly could be out. Reportedly, I should say, not allegedly, could be out till December and perhaps longer.
Right.
So
that is pretty horrible news for the Texans.
That's bad.
That is the heart of your team.
Yeah,
and
easily.
It's gone. I mean, even if he's out till December, it's... And now, granted, they do play in the South, so...
There's some hope.
There's some hope, yeah. But let's be honest. If you're the Colts and company and the rest of that division, you are licking your chops.
The Colts aren't doing bad. I think they're 2-1 this year.
They're 2-1, yeah. But guess what? How much easier does your road get now, where you don't have to face J.J. Watt twice a year?
True.
Well,
it plays into my crazy Arjuna Remco
yes.
theory.
Tell us about this theory.
Yeah,
I love this theory.
I'll tell you my theory. So it sets up the Texans to just have a disappointing year, miss the playoffs, and Bill O'Brien just to get the can, right? He's going to be fired and without a job. But man, what's he going to do?
Yeah.
Who's going to hire him after not being able to coach the Texans?
Sit on his couch and eat nachos
for probably about 2 days until Bill Belichick calls and it's just like, hey, Bill, I need you to come back to the Patriots because Josh McDaniels is going to leave for a head coaching job. He's gonna be the hottest name on the market. No question about it.
Maybe even going to the Texans.
I mean,
wouldn't that be bizarre?
That'd be kind of weird. I mean, they're good. Apparently, McDaniels and O'Brien are good friends.
Yeah, I would imagine.
But
they probably had this whole deal worked out,
But this is what happened in 2011 as the Patriots were gearing up for their Super Bowl run.
Yeah.
And then they faced the Giants. McDaniels was the offensive coordinator of the Rams, the St. Louis Rams at the time, that year, and then was let go of his contract and came on in the playoffs as an offensive consultant for the Patriots to then become the offensive coordinator again after the season. Wouldn't it be funny if the same thing kind of happens if the Patriots make the playoffs and O'Brien is fired at the end of the season, comes on as a quote-unquote offensive consultant as McDaniels gets hired away in the first or second week of the playoffs, and then McDaniels leaves and O'Brien's back as offensive coordinator, and then it's just been McDaniels, O'Brien, and it'll just keep going like that
forever for the next 25 years.
And then 3 years from now, when McDaniels gets fired again, and O'Brien has built his reputation up for grooming Jacoby Brissett as the next, Michael Vick, he goes on his merry way,
and They're just destined
does
to
that.
trade places forever. It's I love it. I love it. You know what? Even when the Patriots lose, they win. They can lose their best guy. And
Right, so
there's another. You know how it's like next player up.
Sure.
There's next coach up.
well, so here's
Doesn't matter whose team they're on.
So here's the funniest thing I think that came out of this game, right? You know, with Jacoby kind of winning the game, everyone's just like, oh, well, you know, Bill Belichick is the one that's clearly the mastermind behind everything.
Yeah.
Tom Brady is pointless.
Yeah. If Matt was
he's
here, he
a-
would be strangling us right now.
He's a system quarterback, quote unquote, and they should get rid of him. How crazy!
Yeah,
like
it's bizarre.
the guy threw for 100 yards. It's not like he lit up the world here.
Right.
Like
he did well with what the Patriots gave him.
asked him to do.
He did very well, considering he's a rookie. His third game. He didn't get a whole lot of reps in leading up to this game, or as much time to prepare.
Oh, for sure.
As some starters and backups.
He's a rookie. I mean, he was drafted just
Third
a few
string
months
rookie.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so it's praise should go to both. To all praise. Brissett did great to be ready for the game. On 4 days of
short week.
preparation, and the Patriots, Bill Belichick, and it's not just Belichick, it's everyone on that offensive coaching staff did a great job to put him in the best position to win, and that's what sets the Patriots apart from every other opponent, maybe in the NFL, with the exception of a couple of teams. They put their players in the best position to win. So many teams don't do that. They throw the plan just doesn't fit the personnel.
Yeah.
And that's why teams lose.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
why the Patriots win.
I agree with that. And speaking of planning, the report came out last Friday, that Brissett hurt his thumb.
Yeah.
So
here we go again.
Tore a ligament, would need surgery, and could be out for week 4. So people started panicking. That Brissett could be out. Garoppolo wouldn't be ready. So was it TJ
Now
Yates
what do you
coming
do?
in?
Yeah.
But luckily, the practice report, no practice reports come out, but Garoppolo and Brissett both practiced today. And the Patriots, the reports coming out this past weekend were that if the Patriots didn't feel like one of them wasn't going to be ready, they would sign a quarterback on Monday. We're on the end of Tuesday, and they have yet to sign a quarterback. So I think they're hopeful that one or both will be ready to go for week 4. And
Yeah, there's a subtext to this whole thing too.
Yeah.
A huge, and it's not slightly overlooked, but maybe not that overlooked. A big reason why they are 3-0 is LeGarrette Blount. So I read
that's actually a good point.
very interesting a stat on that. He has 75 rushes through 3 games, which I think puts him second.
It's second or first?
Through first or second all time on the Patriots rushing list through 3 games, and he's up there with Curtis Martin, for company.
Yeah, for rushing attempts.
Yeah, and yards, and I think he's up there for touchdowns.
Well, also,
too.
if you look through 3 weeks in the NFL, he's the league's leading rusher. LeGarrette Blount is through 3 weeks leads the NFL in rushing. Now, is that an indictment on how bad the running backs are in the NFL? That's a good argument.
Possibly, yeah.
Especially young backs too. You think like last week, I know D'Angelo Williams was first, then Blount was 4th.
Ezekiel Elliott did have a
good
hugely supremely game.
That's
like,
true.
Good game. So,
but then outside of Zeke, and we'll get to this. Outside of Zeke, which young back is really performing
Isaiah
well?
has been solid, but he hasn't really gotten his chances yet, like as many as he could be.
Which you think he should, being with the Browns, and
He'll
they're down
get
to
there.
Cody Kessler.
Yeah,
And Terrell Pryor is doing everything.
Again, his teams don't game plan for the personnel. So
Yeah. Yeah, but you're right. Blount's been a huge factor, and he was almost an afterthought for the Patriots in terms of he was a free agent for a few months, I think.
Yeah.
And then they signed him to a 1-year, $1 million deal with a bonus, incentives to go up to $2 million. And
Yeah.
I gotta think he's gonna hit those.
Yeah.
I mean, he could be the Patriots' first 1,000-yard rusher since Stephen Ridley in 2012.
Yeah, and
By week 10.
I think he has a great chance to move into. I think this season, he will be in the top, potentially 15 all-time Patriot rushers.
I think
he
he's already
is.
he's almost in the top 10.
Okay,
So I think
let's say it's top 10 then.
I think in rushing touchdowns, he's 10th. He's just behind. I think he just passed Lawrence Maroney and is behind Stephen Ridley.
Lawrence Maroney, remember that guy?
I don't want to.
Well, you know what? Lawrence Maroney was great when he was running behind Corey Dillon.
Before we get to superlatives, last thing on the Patriots for their week 3. We're going to talk about them again for their week 4 preview. and this is something that just kind of popped into my mind. What's going to happen when Dion Lewis comes back?
For what? For the offense? Or
For the running game specifically.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you remember last year, Lewis, especially through those first 8 weeks or so,
Mm-hmm.
was really getting the bulk of the snaps. Blount was getting some, but he was getting a lot of snaps late in games to kind of be a closer type role.
Right.
This year, like you said, he's got 75 plus snaps, right, at rushing attempts.
I think it'll be
So-
okay because I would imagine once Brady gets back, Blunt will be lucky to run it 20 times a game. You know, he's running it like 25 times a game right now.
Sure.
Maybe the first 2 games to acclimate Brady, and depending on the
But
opponent.
I think Blunt's running well enough. You got to give him 15 touches.
Oh yeah, he'll probably get that. But I would expect though at his age, when Dion gets back, I'm not going to say he's going to wear down, but I think the team would be better off having Blunt as fresh as possible for the playoffs. So I think they would be okay
Splitting
it, yeah.
I
And
think so,
maybe
too.
and maybe to begin with, Dion Lewis doesn't come in and take as many snaps as because
Right.
he's going to need games to get back up to game speed
Right.
anyway. So it might be one of those things where they'll just let that work itself out toward the end, and hopefully, if both guys are healthy, it's the best possible situation
And
going into the playoffs.
And final thought on this: big credit to the offensive line, and big credit
Yes.
to the return of Dante Scarnecchia.
yeah, actually, that's a
it's been
great
huge.
subtext as well.
No, it's honestly been huge. The play of Nate Solder, the play of rookie Joe Tooney, Shaq Mason, the second-year guy, David Andrews.
Tooney's legit. I like Tooney a lot.
And Marcus Cannon. Marcus Cannon's always played best under Scar. The last couple years under DeGuglielmo wasn't great for him. He was out of position a lot. You know, at right tackle is really his natural position. So he's been playing well. And then they also, you know, they're going back to using Cameron Fleming as that third tackle,
Yeah.
like they kind of did when Scar was here. And it's working really well. So, you know, big credit to Scar.
I have a real quick question.
Yeah. I love
Why did Scarnecchia? Oh, it's a 2-part question,
Sure.
but it's related. Why did Scarnecchia retire, and what the heck did they say to him to get him out of retirement?
So he retired because he's
Old?
He's been with the organization in some capacity for 30 plus years.
Yeah.
Mostly as offensive line coach, but he's coached special teams, and I think he coached defense at one point. And
Oh my God.
he's a New England native, but the 2 years of retirement, he was still around the team the whole time.
Oh.
He was still going to college at pro days for the Patriots and working on offensive line before them. So he had a big hand in drafting like Joe Tooney and Shaq Mason and the guys they've drafted the last couple of years. And then he was also just in the area. He was like a coaching consultant. So it's just
So
like
his retirement was no retirement at all.
and then DeGuglielmo, like the Patriots had a rocky relationship with him. They, you know, it didn't work out exactly how they wanted him, and they just kind of let his contract expire.
Right.
And then I think Belichick was just like, "Hey, I mean, you've been with us. Please come back."
Just do it. Yeah. If you're gonna be doing all that work in retirement, just help us out, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then you also have to think Belichick is kind of crazy when it comes to like specific players and coaches. There's a story that's out there that he called Jason Taylor when he was a free agent at one point.
Yeah.
Every single day for like 5 months to try and come to the Patriots, and he never did.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's very interesting because it doesn't happen often,
No.
but it seems like when Belichick has
when he
his
has
eyes set
Yeah.
on a person, yeah, he goes all out until they like say yes or like are unable. There's just no physical way for them to come to the Patriots for whatever reason.
Yeah, and Belichick's just like, I need, like, he probably
That's
just
a
said I
laser
needed
focus.
Dante,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, and he's absolutely right. So running game and offensive line, those are your unsung heroes for the first 3 weeks.
definitely.
And
Definitely.
and special teams. Special teams has a lot of core players this year.
Yeah, I
they're
mean, you've got Slater.
like
Just special teams.
a lot of them who are just special teams.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
every year. Slater, Ebner, Bolden.
Maybe the best special teams we've ever had.
You could make the argument, and then, you know, Scott O'Brien retired after the 2014 season, after the Super Bowl, and you've had Joe Judge and what's his name, the former Patriots special teamer for a long time. He's the assistant special teams coach. His brother also played for the Patriots. Why am I forgetting his name?
Wait, who? Sorry, could you say that again?
A Patriot special teamer, a guy who played special teams for the Patriots.
Larry Izzo.
No, not Larry Izzo. Who's like, think of Matthew Slater between Izzo and Slater. a guy who just played special teams. Why am I forgetting his last name?
Shoot. Was he known for just being a gunner?
He was just known for being just playing special teams.
Shoot.
I'll look it up.
Damn.
But yeah, they definitely have a good special teams.
Yeah.
The kid,
They always do. They always do.
Gostowski, right, of course. But I don't know. You feel like it's even better this year, especially with like the 2 forced fumbles.
Yeah. I just feel like
punting Ryan Allen in that game,
Yeah.
and the game was fantastic.
I just feel like their special teams this year has so many playmakers on it.
Yeah.
Like anyone on that special teams could easily pop up in the box score.
Yeah.
Forced fumble recovery, something like that.
Ray Ventrone.
Oh, Ventrone.
Yeah, Ventrone is on there.
I would never have got that in a million years.
Yeah,
So
I couldn't
you
remember. I knew it was like a V, but I couldn't. I just couldn't. It was just off the tip of my tongue. Anyway, enough of us loving and crushing on the Patriots. 3-0.
It could be a different story this week.
Yeah.
We're playing the Bills, right? Big win over Arizona.
Big win over Arizona, and we'll get to that.
Yes.
But let's get to some superlatives.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yes.
And let's start with our favorite game from week 3. I'll let you go first.
Okay, cool.
So state your game and why.
Okay, so I picked the Giants Redskins.
Good fun game.
Yeah, that was a fun game. I didn't get to watch the game, but looking at the box score, looking at how the game transpired, and watching the highlights. First of all, some of the most horrendous tackling I've ever seen, which is going to lead to extremely fun games. Oh my God, like nobody could tackle in that game to save their life.
Nobody can tackle in the NFL right now. It's epidemic.
It's so bad. But this game was bad. It was like really bad.
Really bad.
Really bad. So yeah, I mean, it had everything. Like the Giants, they ran out to a big lead, and then the Redskins closed it up before halftime. And then I think in the fourth quarter, it was back and forth, I think 5 times. I think there was like 5 lead changes in the fourth quarter, and the Redskins were able to eke it out 29-27. Obviously the big storyline going to the game was Josh Norman and Odell Beckham Jr., and both got theirs. Got theirs in this game.
The matchup did not disappoint.
No,
I'll tell you that.
Odell had, I think, one ridiculous one-handed catch.
Norman almost had a pick.
Josh Norman almost had a pick in the red zone.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it counted for nothing because the next play or the next couple plays after it was a touchdown.
Unfortunately, yeah.
But it was a great matchup. I don't think it didn't have the fireworks of 2 guys punching each other, but in terms of play on the field,
Norman did lift up Odell Beckham though in the end zone earlier in the game.
Oh, beautiful! Thank God.
It was hilarious.
Thank God. Okay, good. I think there was a fake punt where the punter, I think it was on the Redskins, caught the ball and then heaved the ball, like kind of a horrible pass. Like heaved it down like 20 yards down the field, and it caught the Giants so much by surprise that, the receiver just kind of wandered into the path, caught it. I don't think that led to any points, but it was fun. It was just one of those ridiculous games.
The key play in the game was when Eli was driving the Giants down late in the fourth quarter. And the corner for the Redskins, Josh Norman, but Quinton Dunbar makes the ridiculous one-handed pick. I don't know if you seen the thing.
I saw the highlight.
Yeah. He had the one-handed pick, and then they had to show the great shot of Odell being Odell and punching the field goal net and just like being all mad because Eli blew the game or whatever. But it's just.
Yeah, Eli took a shot too.
He definitely did.
He got hit, I think, in the second quarter. At least to me, I don't know. Nobody else was making a big deal about this, but like he got tacked. Like he really got hit. I don't know. I can't remember the player who hit him, but like he really hit the deck hard, and yeah, he got up. I know Eli gets a lot of flack. A lot of flack for being so-called wimp, little boy, but no, he got up and he played. Eli's a little bit tougher, I think, than we give him credit for.
He has the longest consecutive start streak right now.
Wow, there you go, haters.
Since he started starting in his rookie year, he hasn't missed a game.
Yeah, and this is coming from Patriots fans. So we have every reason to hate this guy.
I have a lot of respect for Eli. I've never disrespected.
I can't say I respect him.
I can't
say I like him. How about that? There we go.
He's not unlikable to me. Like he's not like a Jay Cutler. You know, Jay
No,
Cutler's
he's not that
unlikable,
bad. No,
you
he's
know
not
what I
that
mean?
bad. No.
I think Eli's kind of funny too.
Yeah, he
So-
can be. When he plays up that
yeah.
angle where he's just like, kind of like this,
And he's
clueless dude.
one of those guys like in a clutch situation. I definitely would want. Like I'm obviously
he's
with
in
Tom
the,
Brady.
He's in the top 5 for clutch.
He might be in the top 2 for me. Like honestly, might be Brady and him. Honestly, right there. I don't know who else I'd really take in a clutch situation. Not Aaron Rodgers. I don't think Rodgers has
I'd
shown
probably
enough
take.
clutch for me.
I think I would agree. I would take Brady and then Eli, but
Yeah.
I think our Big Ben would be in the conversation.
Yeah, he probably would be.
Is that it though? God damn, is that
That
it?
really is. Like I wouldn't take Breeze in a pressure situation.
No.
Um,
There's really no one else.
I've never liked Luck.
Yeah, your disdain for Luck is well documented on the show.
I really do not like Andrew Luck at all.
Especially through these first 3 weeks. I'm hoping so. By week 17, I want to do. I don't know how long it would be, but all the sound bites that you have on Andrew Luck at the end, game, week 17.
We can make it into like a montage.
Oh
or
yeah,
something.
that should be the opening.
I
For the
should
show.
start working on that. So
Put it together. Yes.
So speaking of disdain, my favorite game of the week was Chief Jets. Literally because as a Patriots fan, I got to revel in the Jets' misery of Ryan Fitzmagic, as the Jets fans like to call him, throwing 6 interceptions. It was so great. It was like late in the game he'd thrown 3. I looked down, I literally just walk away from the game for 3 minutes and I come back and it's 6 interceptions, and I'm just like,
what happened? Yeah, the Jets are cursed.
yeah,
Butt
they
fumble,
just-
Yeah, this game. There's just so.
Though
many
I will
things.
say the season with the butt fumble, that is when they beat the 14-2 regular season MVP Tom Brady Patriots, and they came into Gillette Stadium and they beat them.
Yeah.
That was also Rex Ryan's
Fine.
last playoff win.
Fine. Go ahead and
So they
poop
were
on my parade.
They were cursed, but then they just couldn't ever get further than that.
I think what was it? 8 total turnovers plus so it was 6 interceptions to go along with 2 fumbles lost.
Something crazy like that. But I
And
mean,
Kansas City, correct me if I'm wrong, but I didn't think
Kansas City has a good defense.
it's good.
It's been. I feel like it used to be elite. I
Right.
don't know. I would say it's fallen off a little bit. Like I really like Marcus Peters.
Mm-hmm.
I really like Dontari Poe. I think he's still there.
Yeah.
Let me fact check real quick. But I've always liked that defense. It's always almost reminds me of like the Patriots from the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Kind of like understated, but they get it done. Yeah, Dontari Poe still a nose tackle for the Kansas City Chiefs. What are you saying?
I love how your favorite game for this week was Chiefs Jets because of the Jets misery.
Yeah. I mean,
That's great.
I like it that they're miserable.
Yeah, that's great.
It makes me feel good.
It makes the Patriots' road to
Well,
another
here's the
division
question.
crown. so
Well, here's
much
the question.
easier.
Now, clearly, the Patriots have the 2 best quarterbacks in the division, but do they have the 3 best quarterbacks in the division?
No, I won't put Brissett there quite yet over.
Tannehill and Tyrod.
Yeah, and I don't know if Fitzpatrick threw 6 picks, but he's better than that.
The Jets should bench him and play Geno.
No, don't do that. That would be bad. Like that, no.
Well, why not?
Geno has never.
I love
no.
Geno. He's so good.
no. He's not. Brissett's not there yet. Give it a year.
You're right.
Give it a year in the system.
Well, I think Brady's 3rd best.
Yeah.
We should trade him for a lot of picks.
man.
Let's go.
Wait. Okay. Real quick.
Go for it.
Okay. Someone's offering you 6 first rounders, or however it falls
6?
over the next 6 years for Tom Brady.
I'd do it.
5,
I'd do it.
4,
I'd do it.
3.
It depends on the team.
Okay.
If it's the Cleveland Browns, I'm doing it because I'm getting 3 number 1 overall picks.
First round picks. Okay.
If it's the Seattle Seahawks for some reason.
Whichever team's getting Brady is probably upping that win total.
Yeah, but a quarterback is important. But as I want to talk, I want to make this point now. It's not the be all end all, right?
Right.
So think about it.
Clearly, we've seen that more this year than ever before.
And before we get more into superlatives, there are 5 teams left in the NFL that are undefeated, right? That are 3-0. They are the Philadelphia Eagles,
Wow.
rookie quarterback, the New England Patriots, going between their number 2 and their number 3, the Denver Broncos, starting a second-year player who didn't play at all last year, Trevor Siemian, the Minnesota Vikings, who traded for the quarterback days before Week 1, who's never been able to stay healthy, Sam Bradford, and the Baltimore Ravens with Joe Flacco. And the Ravens, by the way, are probably one of the worst 3-0 teams out there. They've barely hung on to beat the Browns and the Jaguars in their 3 wins. So, in conclusion, how important is quarterback? It's 3 weeks. It's really early for sure.
Yeah.
But you have the Carolina Panthers at 1-2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who have one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. You have the Green Bay Packers, who are struggling right now. 2-1.
2-1.
But they're still. Yeah. I mean, Aaron Rodgers.
It's his first good game. This year.
First good game. Sure.
Yeah.
So
maybe he's turning it around. We'll see.
We'll see. He is still quote unquote Aaron Rodgers and makes those ridiculous throws where it doesn't make sense. But I mean, some of the best quarterbacks this year are on teams like the Detroit Lions. Matt Stafford, 1-2.
Yeah.
You know, so it doesn't always correlate exactly how you would think. There's more to it than the stats and the yards and the touchdowns and whatever. It's about also being able to manage the game from an offensive standpoint.
Yeah. Or if, you're in the Falcon shoes, you have a historically bad defense and need to put up like 100 points a game.
Which they did on Monday Night Football. They did. But that made actually a side note for fantasy football. I won in our league, but in my work league, I need Julio Jones to get me like 12 points to win. Somehow the Falcons put up 40-plus points.
45, I think.
45, and Julio Jones had 1 catch for 16 yards.
That's a deep offense. That's an just keep. So I think we'll get to this later with the Eagles' defense, but I'll be curious to see how good the Falcons' offense might be. It's very early.
1 catch for 16 yards, you score 40-plus points. What's happening?
Exactly. Exactly. So he wasn't even going. So yeah. That's a great point. So you would
I hate Julio Jones.
So depending on the team, you would trade Tom Brady for 3 first-round picks.
Well, and also
don't let New England hear you right now.
What?
The
situation it depends on a lot of things.
Of course.
How do you feel? I'm not the head coach of the Patriots. How do I feel about the other options? Then you also, the financial situation is also important.
Yeah.
Brady takes pay cuts and takes below average. Well, if I
the value is very good.
If I sign Garoppolo to an extension,
would he take the same pay cuts?
No. Probably not, and you'd have to pay him more. How much is it? How much of a difference is there? Is Brady better than Garoppolo? I would assume yes.
Yeah.
Right?
He's going to take less money. That's a great point.
Yeah,
that's a great point.
And I think that's an overlooked factor, right? Brady signed through 2019. Garoppolo's only signed through 2017. Now, if Garoppolo is willing to take like a 5-year deal at like
below
$30 million,
then
yes,
there's no way.
But he's going to want a 5-year deal at like $120 million. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which you could there's some stupid team out there that'll give it to him.
Yeah, let's be honest. Players who are probably not as good as Garoppolo, which is weird to say at this point, have got more money than that.
I mean, if the Minnesota Vikings are trading a 1st and a 4th rounder for Sam Bradford,
which
has
worked out so far.
I'll eat my words. It's worked out so far.
Yeah.
Which
is interesting. Yeah, I haven't been following the Vikings, but I want to see how they've been winning. How have they been winning?
Defense. Their defense is
incredible. Because they haven't had a running game.
Asiata's not bad.
Okay.
And the other guy over there.
Not Adrian Peterson. I just assumed once Adrian Peterson went down that it was all over.
A lot of people assume that, but Adrian Peterson, like as good as he is, he also has some fatal flaws. Fumbling.
Yeah. Old.
He is older.
He's old. Yeah.
So he just have a few things, and some people think that, the Vikings offense could actually be better without AP because AP demands to get the ball, needs that ball 25 times.
Right.
And they might not have to do that anymore, and they could open it up to a guy like Stephon Diggs.
Right.
That's also why Bradford's look good. Stephon Diggs is a great receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get to best team from week 3. Speaking of good teams, and I'll let you go first.
Sure. So for me, obviously I'm biased, but I'm going to say the Patriots.
Homer.
Yeah. Well, the reason I think they're the best team, you're on your third string quarterback.
TM.
The reason they're the best team from week 3, you're on your third string quarterback. You have the 2-0 Houston Texans coming in, and you dismantle them 27-0. And as Belichick would love to say, they dominated in all three phases of the game. The offense was great, particularly rushing the ball. The defense was great. They held them to 0 points. The special teams was great. Two turnovers.
Two turnovers. In special
Ryan
teams.
Allen had 6 punts,
and five of them were down to inside the 20.
Inside the 20, yeah, like he had the best game by a punter I've ever seen on television. I'm sure there's been other ones.
What about Josh Miller?
Who?
The Patriot great, Josh Miller.
Was he the long snapper?
No, the punter from like 04 to like 06.
Josh Miller? Is that Ken Walter?
No, Ken Walter was
before
him, I think.
I don't remember Josh Miller.
They were
at all.
both really bad.
Wait, what about Zoltan Mesko?
I love Mesco.
You met him.
I did. I got his autograph.
Nice.
I got his autograph along with
Wait,
Steven
how many?
Kostowski and Matt Light.
How many languages can he speak again?
5 or 6.
Oh, smartest player we ever had.
He was a team captain at Michigan. Went to Brady's alma mater.
Nice.
Then he went with the Steelers for a few weeks, got cut, and then there was a game between the Steelers and the Patriots, and it was a few weeks later. It was like, what the hell? Go Patriots!
Yeah. I remember that.
That was great.
But yeah, so I mean, for me, it's clear cut. The Patriots were the best team in Week 3, considering what they had to work with, specifically at the quarterback position. And I think a lot of people, us included, predicted the Patriots were going to lose. I think I predicted it wasn't even going to be close. I think I predicted the Texans were going to win 24-10. By the way, I'm going to keep predicting against the Patriots because I think in all 3 weeks I predicted against them, and they have won. So I'm just going to keep that trend up.
I picked against them in week 1 and 3. I picked them to beat the eke out win over the Dolphins, which came true technically.
Technically, yes. No, you're absolutely right.
Right.
A game of halves. But yeah. So for me, clear cut Patriots.
So I'm going to go. I mean, the Patriots are the easy answer. You know.
Easy answer. I think it's an intelligent
It's easy,
answer.
and even to nitpick at it a little bit, the Patriots offense never really drove the ball all the way down the field and scored a touchdown. The couple times they did, I think they settled for field goals. I think they scored all 3 touchdowns on short fields from turnovers.
Yeah, that's why they're the best team. That all 3 phases of the game were required. Team is an all-encompassing concept.
I felt like the Texans
was horrible.
When they got into Patriot territory late in the third quarter. I thought the Patriots defense embarrassed itself at that point, letting them cross that 50-yard line
for the first time all game. Okay,
yeah, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
The 4 catches to DeAndre in the first half. Like, what happened there, Logan Ryan? You letting him?
Yeah, you held one of the best receivers to 4 catches
in the first half. And
but then
he had airtight coverage, and he makes these spectacular catches. Why aren't you stopping those? Like, it's just not good enough.
He had 0 catches in the second half.
I think it won.
I think he finished with 4 catches. So
yeah, maybe. Who knows? But my best team is going to be also my most surprising team, and I think one of the biggest stories in the NFL 3 weeks in, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah,
they are.
Hard to argue.
There's a lot to unpack here.
I have a question about them later on, so
we can start with Carson Wentz, obviously.
Yes.
I can say through 3 weeks I was wrong about Carson. It's still early. Yeah. Ryan Leaf started 2-0 in his career.
Yeah, but he's 3-0 now.
Oh my! I'm shaking in my boot. Carson Wentz still misses really easy throws.
Still, even this week.
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes me like him more.
So Carson Wentz just reminds me of like a guy who almost Aaron Rodgers-esque, who can make the most difficult, athletic, insane throws, but like
ask him to throw a screen, it's all over.
He'll miss it. He'll sail 10 yards.
Yeah,
and I don't know. It's just like you know what? I'm pulling for Wentz. I've never had any disrespect to him at all, even though he went to the school that crushed my alma mater my senior year in the semifinals.
I think it destroyed.
I don't want to talk about
UNH.
It. He didn't even start that game. He was the backup.
Yeah.
And he came in scrub time, which was the second quarter.
Oh my God. I still put up like 19 touchdowns.
I don't want to talk about it. So
that's so great.
Besides that fact, I really have nothing against him. I think it's cool that he's succeeding. It kind of shows that 1AA, the FCS football, is for real. Garoppolo himself, Flacco, Romo.
Garoppolo's from
Garoppolo? Garoppolo and Romo went to the same school, Eastern Illinois.
Wow.
Yeah, fun fact.
Interesting.
So I think it's cool that the talent, that pipeline is still continuing that shows that like FCS isn't a joke. I mean, a lot of people will always make the joke like, oh, 1AA, it's like what, Division 2? It's like, well, no,
clearly
it's
not.
good.
Yeah, clearly not.
And you know what? There are still good Division 2 players out there like Danny Woodhead. You know?
Right.
So there's talent in all these leagues.
Right.
Yeah, but the Carson Wentz has just been lights out. Their receivers have been playing really well. Dorial Green-Beckham, I think I mentioned him earlier in the show, and Aguilar and all those guys. Then you have Selleck, and so their offense is rolling. And then I think you want to touch on this later, but their defense is.
I mean, let's touch on it right now,
Sure.
like real quick.
Sure.
Might as well because we're right there.
Yeah.
Like, my question is, and let me just pull up. Who has the Eagles' opponents been through the first 3 weeks?
Week 1, it was the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
Week 2, it was. Who was it?
I can try and
It
pull
wasn't
it
a
up.
great opponent, but it was still a solid opponent.
Bears.
The Bears. Okay.
Yeah.
It was the Bears. So
But then week 3 is the Steelers.
The Steelers.
And that's
what
team.
and they held and their
Yeah.
defense held them most prolific offense to 3 points.
Were the Steelers the most prolific going in?
Yeah, I mean,
They were up there.
You have Antonio Brown, D'Angelo Will, your leading rusher, Antonio Brown, arguably the best receiver in the game. Roethlisberger, top 3 to 5 quarterback in the NFL.
3 to 49 quarterback.
No, I mean, he's one of the best.
So my question was, so I think they're holding opponents to an absurd 9 points a game.
Yeah, they've given up 27.
The yards
points
against
to
them,
three
they're in first place,
Yeah.
obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, based on that competition and then looking forward, is the defense for real?
I would say no.
Okay.
And the reason I think the defense is good. I don't think it's great. This isn't a defense. It's like the Seattle Seahawks, right?
Okay.
The Seattle Seahawks have consistently for going on their 5th year, have been the best defense in the NFL in terms of yards allowed, and they're up there in points allowed and everything like that, right?
Yeah.
This is a defense, I think, and a team overall that's playing above, quote unquote, its talent level.
Interesting.
And it's specifically in their back end. The Eagles' secondary is not good, right? And I think you've played the Steelers 10 times. That Steelers offense gets the better of you 8 times, 8 times. I just think they had a bad game, and the Eagles' secondary were just really excited to play, ready to go. And it was in Philadelphia, I believe. And when you have a bad day, any team can beat you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But I just think this defense will get exposed later. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it won't get exposed.
So,
but I just don't. I think a lot of them are young, athletic guys who are just. They're playing well. Their front 7 is probably for real. They have one of the better front 7s. It's not the best in the NFL. I don't even know if it's top 5 in the NFL. I would probably take Seattle's front 7, Arizona's front 7, New York's front 7, Buffalo's front 7, Miami's front 7. You know what I mean?
Patriots front 7?
No, they're overrated. I mean, once Ninkovich comes back, yeah, and once Hightower is healthy, sure.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like I'm kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop for the Eagles. I think everything that can go right has gone right for this team. And even with Carson Wentz, right, he's played really well. He hasn't thrown a pick. He's played well. I just want to see him struggle a little bit and see how he responds, because that's when how good is this quarterback, or if they're just going to collapse in on themselves and make mistake after mistake.
You know what's the best thing about what you just said, too? Mm-hmm. We get to test it immediately, because that next game is in Detroit against the Lions. So great
offense.
We get to test basically what you just said immediately, because it's in Detroit. Matthew Stafford is rolling.
Yeah.
Was it Marvin Jones?
Marvin Jones from the Bengals signed there. Has been having a good year.
I will say this, though. In the game against Green Bay, I'm pretty sure Green Bay thought he was on their team, because he was... I've never seen a receiver so wide open in the second half.
Green Bay's defense is bad.
It's
just bad. It's garbage.
It reminds me of the Patriots when they had Deltha O'Neal and company,
man.
and the corners would run away from the receiver. We used to joke about that all the time, right?
Oh, yeah.
Run away from the ball, run away from the receivers.
Totally did.
I saw the highlights for that, and I couldn't believe how wide open he was all the time.
Oh, man.
But that being said, I think that would be a great, so let's we should totally come back, maybe revisit this next week.
Oh, yeah, that'd be
because
interesting.
if they shut down Detroit, in Detroit,
You're a quarter through way through the season as well. So
and
it'd be
yeah,
a good time to revisit.
and they also have the Packers. Obviously, they're playing that whole division. So Packers, Vikings.
Is that later in the year?
They're playing Packers, yeah, like toward the end,
Okay.
or was that week, like 13 or something like that. And yeah, and then obviously they're playing the Falcons. Oh, they're playing the Falcons.
Your favorite offense in the NFL.
Yeah, there you go. So they've got. Oh man, they have a stretch where they go through. They have to go through Vikings, Cowboys, Giants, Falcons, Seahawks, Packers, and then after that it's like Bengals, Redskins, Ravens, Giants.
The Bengals still have a good offense.
Yeah. I it's just
And a solid defense.
depending on how, obviously because we're only in week 3, but how the schedule goes. They've had a kind of an easy opening 3 weeks.
Sure.
Reality could slap Philadelphia in the face real quick, though. They have a tough schedule.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see. So speaking of best teams, worst teams in the NFL, can I start for this one?
Of course.
I would pick.
You have an interesting choice.
I would pick the Jets, but I'm going to pick the Arizona Cardinals. I think
Yeah.
they've been the biggest disappointment in the NFL so far this year.
Sure.
And the reason I say that is this team was an NFC favorite.
Yeah.
In terms of just being a team a lot of people thought would win the NFC, that could overtake Carolina, that was returning everyone, that had added a big blue chip type player in Chandler Jones on their defensive front. And they've gone off to a slow start, 1-2. They shockingly lost the season opener to the Patriots, rebounded and beat the Bucs handedly in week 2, season 2, and then just got embarrassed by Buffalo. In week 3. Buffalo, who was 0-2, completely on the ropes with Rex Ryan and had fired their offensive coordinator the week before.
Yeah, that was
a shocking game to me.
That was a chance to get rid of Rex right there. If they go 0-3 and they lose badly to Arizona, I'm pretty sure.
No, I think you
not that you fire him, but I'm pretty sure it would be he's not coming back next year.
I
think an 0-3 hole that Buffalo's not coming back.
I think
from
the
that.
owner of Buffalo has come out and said that if the Bills do not make the playoffs, Rex Ryan will not be back.
Good.
But it's just interesting. That was a big shock to me to see the Cardinals beaten so handedly, and then you have to think is Buffalo that good or is Arizona that bad? And it's always somewhere in the middle. I think Buffalo was able to capitalize on some of the mistakes of Arizona, and I think Carson Palmer is having a really bad year. And I think he is close to being done, and I think Arizona's made the mistake of not really grooming a successor.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
And it could, I love Bruce Arians, but it could really come back to bite him in the butt. Right, for this season specifically. They could figure it out next year, I'm sure, or down the road. But, for a team that has title aspirations this year and some big free agents like Chandler Jones becoming a free agent after this year, it's not the situation you want to be in right now. So they definitely, I think Carson Palmer threw 4 picks in the game, all of them coming in the fourth quarter when you had a chance to
try and close
close and win that game, but you couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much more to say on that. I just think it'll be interesting. They're 1-2. The Panthers are 1-2. Both your NFC, opponents in the championship game are 1-2, while your AFC opponent, the championship opponents, are both 3-0.
Yeah.
And the NFC ones have more stability at quarterback with Carson Palmer and Cam Newton, who have both been great last year, with your top 2 MVP candidates, both struggling this year.
Off the slow starts.
And then for the Broncos, you have Trevor Siemian, and then for the Patriots, you have Jimmy Garoppolo / Jacoby Brissett.
It's so interesting. Yeah, you got to be able to win outside of quarterback people.
Yeah.
That's the key
what's
here.
interesting. I think both of those offenses.
Yes.
I think both of those offenses are built around that quarterback.
Yeah.
While I think the other offenses are not.
Right. Again, you play to your strengths.
Yeah.
Your quarterback can't be the only way you're going to score points. If it's the only way you're going to score points, you're going to get exposed at some point, especially in the playoffs.
I think what's hurting the Cardinals right now is everyone expected David Johnson, the running back, to be like the next Marshall Faulk. That was the comparisons he was getting in the preseason, and he has not done.
He hasn't done
anything.
it yet.
So, well, I mean, I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, let's get to a couple more superlatives here. Biggest storylines. Krishna, you want to go?
Yeah. So my biggest storyline for the NFL is that the ratings are down this year.
Yeah.
And I think it's across the board, all games, all 3 weeks.
Especially the primetime games are down by like 10, 11%. I know at least for week 1. I don't know what the numbers were for the following weeks.
Yeah, yeah, and it's interesting. This is something we could have mentioned in the last 2 weeks, but it's I feel like week 3, when you're 3 weeks in, it's a trend, and there's many different reasons you can attribute to this. So some of the reasons that are being thrown out is oversaturation of the product. There's a lot of controversy around the NFL, and a lot of people are getting turned off by that. This is also an election year, so there are outside of events maybe pulling people's viewership away. So on Monday night, the Monday night game was the lowest rated game in forever, like one of the lowest rated Monday night football games ever. Not just in the last 10 years.
It
like,
also
of all
was
time.
a bad matchup. Like the Falcons Saints, there's just no like juice there. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I mean, that's two
The
pretty good quarterbacks.
The Saints have been
like-
struggling this year though, and they've kind of lost their lust over the last couple years.
Yeah.
Matt
I would
Ryan
have
had a
expected
bad
it to
year
be
last
like
year.
kind of like a shootout, which it kind of was.
It was.
And the casual NFL fan would find that kind of interesting, but people's focus was on the debate, as it should be, right?
I also think people aren't so drawn into people's tastes and stuff change, and I think we're almost getting away from like wanting that fantasy football. Like I don't think a shootout carries the same amount of excitement today in 2016 as it did 2011 or 2012.
Agreed. Yeah.
I think people like to see more balanced type of games.
But I think, and this has been a criticism of the NFL, is that some games feel like arena football sometimes.
And that's what Monday's game felt like.
Yes,
for sure.
Yeah, and when it's just touchdown after touchdown after touchdown, it's like, well, where's the skill on defense? Where's the strategy? There's no strategy.
And I think that's a big thing in
Throw
the
the ball
NFL.
and catch it.
And a lot of NFL coaches have complained about this, but you have so like with training camp being cut down and practice time being cut down, you have so little time to prepare these guys. You're seeing a real decline in the product. You talked about it earlier in the show. Tackling. It's horrible. Like these guys don't even know. Like they just throw their bodies at their feet and they bounce off.
Nobody knows how to wrap up.
And I think it's just like offensive linemen don't like. Look at the Seattle Seahawks offensive line. Mm-hmm. It's horrible. I've never seen an offensive line worse.
Wow.
Like they're just like they don't even know what the snap count is, and they're just like standing there. They don't know what to do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What
was
it?
bad.
Was it the Seahawks where they were showing clips of like the defensive line was beating them on the snap count so badly that they were like two steps behind them before an offensive lineman. Not just one offensive, all of them. Not a single one moved.
Yeah, it's bad.
And everyone on that defense was 2 steps behind them.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah,
and I think it's all this combination. People just like like you said, the controversies, everything, and everything that rises falls.
Yeah,
I
think I'll wrap this little part up on a quote that Mark Cuban had either last year or the year before. It was something along the lines. This isn't word for word, but in business, it's just bad business when you get greedy, you stay greedy, and you get like more greedy. Like what did he say? Like the pigs get fatter or the hogs get fatter or something. And he says,
especially without change, like there's no type of positive change, and you can go in both ways. If you just want to stay the same forever, your product will decline. If you change it too much, your product will be different.
Right.
It's always about finding that balance.
Right.
And I think in the NFL, it's always been about the money. It's always been about.
But he was specifically referring to oversaturation.
Sure.
So adding Thursday night games, off-season coverage through the roof. I think it's again I'm biased.
Think about like Deflategate.
I was just gonna say that Deflategate makes it a 365 days a year. Put it this way: football season starts, nobody missed it. because we've been talking football.
Hey, football is back.
Football never left.
Yeah.
You know, for everything from Deflategate to just the whole circus. The whole thing's a circus, and it's all year round. It doesn't give anyone a chance to. We were talking about someone, I think one of the bartenders, and he was saying he used to love football. He used to watch it all the time.
That's right.
And the last couple of years,
Shout out to Adam.
he doesn't miss it, and therefore he doesn't care.
Yeah.
He's way into baseball right now. And baseball, actually, I think baseball ratings are way up. Right?
They're not way up, but they're going up.
They're going up.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Years of declining and the missing magical 18 to 35 demographic. It's going up a little bit.
Thank you, Red Sox.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, yeah. All right, I think that's going to do it for our superlatives. Let's get into our Week 4 preview real quick. Pats and the Bills.
Yeah.
We've kind of touched on this already. This is going to be a tough game.
We say
Don't
this
you
every
know?
single
Don't
week.
you know? Tyrod Taylor, he's gonna carve up that defense. Rex is gonna dial up those blitzes, and he don't care who the quarterback is.
Oh my God.
He said he don't care if it's Steve Grogan or Bill Belichick. He's coming after them because he knows Brady's not playing.
Yeah, that. You know what? That's almost a word for word direct quote by Rex Ryan. He had a great. What isn't it? Basically, he's saying he doesn't care who's back there. It's not Brady. They're going to be blitzing all out, which I hope they do. That could be a little bit of misdirection by him.
Yeah, they're going to mix it up like they always do. They'll drop 9 into coverage sometimes.
Yeah, they're going to have to, because if they're blitzing all the time, the game plan becomes super simple. Screens. And you have Brissett back there, it becomes even easier. You just got to get rid of that ball. You're going to have Edelman and Amendola underneath, catching balls all the day and running for 20-plus yards if you're blitzing every play.
So if you are Rex, you do whichever quarterback, Garoppolo or Brissett, hit them. I mean, that's what they haven't really been able to do any team has been able to do through the first 3 weeks. And the Bills have the defense to do it.
They have the personnel.
They have the personnel that's athletic enough to chase. I mean, and the thing about Garoppolo and Brissett is they are able to get out of the pocket and extend the play, whether they throw it or run it. You just got to chase. Like, you honestly have to – you got to bring the heat and hit those guys and speed up their clock. It works on every quarterback. You hit them a few times.
It works on Brady.
Everyone. There's no quarterback out there you're going to hit and they're going to get better. Maybe Ben Roethlisberger.
What about my 99 rated Madden player, Donut Drake?
Donut Drake is a freak of nature because he's 400 pounds.
Yeah, 400 pounds with the 99 speed rating.
And correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't the very first play you did with him you were in the pocket and then you scrambled for a 73-yard touchdown?
Correct.
It's amazing.
400 pounds, 99 speed rating, 99 agility, 99 acceleration.
And like 2 players caught on to you and they just bounced right off because
I'm 400 pounds, and I have a 99 speed rating.
Yeah, you can't.
Donut Drake.
You can't take that down.
Number 1 quarterback.
So this will be. I mean, I think it'll be a close game. I really do. I think it's going to be. I do think it'll be. I think I've said this every single week. It's going to be low scoring.
What should be like the biggest shootout we've seen in Patriots history? It's like 50 to 56.
I just think the Patriots defense is playing well. They're kind of finding themselves a little bit more. I think Buffalo's defense they're good at generating some turnovers. I think it's going to have to be again that type of the 3 phases complementing each other. I don't know if you're going to. I mean The thing about the Bills' offense is it's kind of broken right now, which is why they fired their offensive coordinator. They're all about big plays right now. So if the Patriots can limit the big plays, and it's kind of gross.
Doesn't smell good, does it?
No, it doesn't. Limit the big plays and kind of force the Bills to 3 and outs and control the time of possession. This could be, once again, another big blunt game.
Nice.
Especially if the Bills are bringing the heat. The best way to negate a blitz is a good running game. And the offensive line has been playing well, and the tight ends, both Bennett. I know Gronk, we didn't even mention it. Gronk came back for the first game. He played about 14 snaps, blocked mostly.
Yeah.
He didn't have a catch.
Just to get back into that groove.
But it'll be interesting to see, especially with 10 days, he'll be more rested. Is he going to be a bigger part of the offensive game plan? And if he is, I mean, that just makes the offense harder to cover with. For the first time, we'll really see Gronk and Bennett together, Blunt out there, Edelman, Amendola, Mitchell.
Yeah.
Hogan.
Yeah.
So-
Mitchell and Hogan have been impressive.
Yeah, and
in their limited,
Amendola. Well, Amendola is the one who's had
Yes.
really limited snaps. He's been playing like 15 to 20 snaps, but
Oh.
when every snap he plays, he's making big catch after big catch. He already has 2 touchdowns in the year.
He's only playing 15 snaps.
15, 20. Like he only played 19 snaps.
How come?
On third. So you have to think about it. He didn't play in training camp. He's not ready. He's not in game shape yet.
Oh, interesting.
You know, he on the off-season surgery.
Okay.
On his hip, I think.
So it's just a conditioning thing.
I think that, and then also you have a lot of talent at wide receiver,
Yeah,
and
you
you're
do.
playing a lot of 2 receiver sets.
Okay.
So Edelman's going to be out there a lot, obviously, and then it kind of comes down to who do you want in which situation? Do you want Hogan? And Hogan's really been the second guy. Do you want Mitchell, the probably your most athletic receiver, and quote unquote best deep threat, or do you want Amendola, your slot guy? So I think it's just a mix and match of all. You have a lot of offensive weapons, and then you have Bennett, and you have Gronk, and you have Blunt, and you're gonna have Deion Lewis. So
Wait, Deion Lewis is coming back?
after week 6.
I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about
No,
this
no,
game
no,
here.
no,
So I was
not-
like, wait.
not week 4.
Okay, gotcha. So quick then, real quick, prediction then for week 4 for you. We have to do it.
I'm gonna go Buffalo. I'm gonna go Buffalo in this one. I think the Patriots are overrated a little bit. I think people are saying they're by and far the best team in the NFL. I think they've played good complementary football, but I think they get exposed a little bit this week.
Interesting.
I think their defense is good.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's great. And I think if Brissett plays, the offense is still limited. And
Yeah.
if you can shut down Blunt, there really is no offense.
Right.
They just, Blunt's been able to get his, and maybe Buffalo has the front to stop him. So I'm going to go. I'm going to go Buffalo 28, Patriots 17.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so I'm glad you picked Buffalo because I'm going to go Patriots.
Oh, everything's over. Everything's
I
over.
know. I would say I would pick against the Patriots.
The streak's over.
But I mean, let's be honest. This is what I think is going to happen this week. I think the Patriots are going to win. I think it's going to be 33-17. And I think James White is going to have a big going I think they're going to get him involved in this game plan.
I don't even know who that is.
James White.
4th round pick out of Wisconsin.
Yeah, he's
2013.
gonna have I think he's gonna have between 7 to 12 big catches.
All the ones he doesn't drop.
The ones he doesn't drop, and he's gonna make some plays. And I think that's my prediction.
How confident are you in James White?
How confident? I think for this game he's gonna do well.
I want you to sign James White in our fantasy league, and I want you to start him at running back.
Absolutely not.
Oh, so you're not that
I
confident?
want to win.
Hell yeah, you're not that
I'm
confident.
I'm playing my boy Dan. Gotta beat Dan.
I just want to point out in our fantasy league, you lost to Ravi.
Yeah, Ravi, I think, had the most ridiculous point total this
100,
season so far.
180.
Yeah. He beat everyone. Anyone could have played him this week and he would have won. So I don't feel that too bad.
I think I scored the second most amount of points. So.
You would have lost to him.
Well, I've lost the first 2 weeks at still scoring the second most amount of points. So what's the difference?
You got lucky this week that you weren't playing Ravi. Because if you were, you would have lost.
Shout out to my father for letting me beat him. Even though he didn't let me. I did it fair and square. Yeah, I just think I think Rex is desperate, and I think he knows how to beat these Patriots.
Speaking of Dad, do we have a question?
We do, actually. Let's throw right to it.
Will Belichick bench Brady for having a bad game?
So thanks, Dad, for that question. Staying up so late in New Hampshire to send that over.
East Coast, represent.
East Coast. I don't know if you saw in the video, but Dad was wearing his pajamas, PJs.
Oh, he was, wasn't he? Yeah.
He was.
Getting ready for bed.
But that's actually an interesting question. So I think before the season, you can kind of laugh it off. Would Bill Belichick bench, Brady if for Garoppolo or Brissett, if his performance was bad enough, was bad or whatever. But Belichick's not above benching anybody.
I agree.
But I'm Brady, and don't get me wrong when I say this, right? Mm-hmm. Brady has a pretty long leash, but if Brady comes out and throws,
So how about this then? Sure. I think the best way to answer this question is what is his leash? What kind of numbers and for how many games would he have to stink it up?
I say about 4 games, and he's like the direct correlation of why you're losing. Let's say go 1-3. He's directly lost you those 3 games.
Okay.
And I only say this because I do think the Patriots think highly of Garoppolo. I don't see, and they know more than anyone. Obviously, we've only seen him for 6 quarters.
Right.
How highly they think of him, who knows? Brady's obviously going to come back and start. Now, is Brady going to come in and stink it up? Most likely not. But he is 39.
Even if he stinks it up for 4 games in a row, he's never done that before. No, that's the first time for anything.
Well,
he is 39.
Well, actually, you say that, but the 4-game streak in 2002, actually, he hit the similar.
2002, though? I mean, that's before Brady was Brady.
Yeah.
Like, he was playing different styles, different offense.
He was Thomas Edward Brady at the time.
Exactly.
But he actually, interesting enough, he sprained his AC joint in his throwing shoulder, and had a 53 quarterback rating in like those final 4 games, and then they lost. I think they lost 4 straight.
That's correct.
And they
and
missed the playoffs.
I think they finished. They went I think that year they went 9-7.
Yeah.
And they needed Green Bay to beat the Jets to make the playoffs.
Thanks, Aaron Rodgers.
And
Brett
Favre. And I think the Packers were huge favorites.
Yeah, they
the Jets won, which sent the Dolphins.
Yeah.
I think the Dolphins won the division at 9-7.
Yeah. Didn't the Jets win?
The Jets beat the
Right,
Packers,
Chad Pennington.
which allowed the Dolphins.
You know
it was
what's-
like the tiebreakers. It was a weird season.
So we saw that game. We were
Best Buy.
catching that game. Yeah, at Best Buy.
Yeah.
That's right. And you know what's even more interesting?
Yeah.
The only other time in Brady's, since Brady came on, the Patriots haven't made the playoffs was 2008.
Yeah.
And it also came down to a Brett Favre versus Chad Pennington duel.
Wait, no way.
Yeah, when Brett Favre was with the Jets this time, and Chad Pennington was with the Dolphins in Week 17, and the Jets had to beat the Dolphins for the Patriots to win the division and make the playoffs at 11-5.
Thanks, Chad.
And thanks Brett Favre for losing. But the Dolphins beat the Jets and won the division, and the Patriots sat home with Matt Castle.
That's right. 11. Again, another winning season. That's 2 winning seasons, and they didn't make it because of a weird Chad Pennington Brett Favre duel.
That's right. The Patriots are cursed by Chad Pennington and Brett Favre duels.
Wait a second. That's so eerie.
Does that mean
Was Chad Pennington the quarterback though back in 2002?
for the Jets?
Yeah.
Yes. Because Chad Pennington was drafted the same year as Brady.
Okay.
2000.
Oh, interesting. He was starting in his second year?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm almost positive it was Chad
Yeah.
Pennington.
Yeah, I can't remember that far back.
And even if it wasn't, it's a nice story if he is.
Yeah. Oh my God, that is so eerie.
Yeah. But getting back to the question, right?
Yes. What is the question?
The question of would Belichick bench Brady?
Oh yes.
It would be extreme. It would be something where Belichick has come to the conclusion that Brady has declined.
And he's costing you wins.
He's costing you wins, and you have a better chance to win with the other guys. Do I think that happens? 90% of me says no. But there's that 10% where...
10% is a lot.
Yeah, but the 10% is... But Brady, Tom Brady is 39 years old.
Yeah.
Tom Brady has had 4 weeks off.
Yeah.
And we all know...
I think he spent this last week in Italy.
Yeah.
Or the last couple of days.
Yeah, getting fat off spaghetti.
He doesn't seem like the type.
Yeah, he wouldn't. He'd be like, here's my avocado ice cream.
Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
When he snorts some cocaine.
No, again, doesn't seem like the type.
Not yet. But I mean, Father Time always wins, right? All of these guys decline at some point.
Undefeated.
And maybe.
Nope. David Ortiz is beating Father Time. He's going to go out on top.
Oh, what? Losing to the Cubs in the World Series?
No! How dare you?
We'll get to that later. But I just don't see. It's going to happen at some point. He's going to fall off. And maybe it's just me reading into the narrative. Like, I know this is the 15-year anniversary of Bledsoe being benched for Brady and Bledsoe being benched for the 10-year anniversary of Bledsoe
superstitious one, aren't you?
being benched for Roma. And you see all these articles of Bledsoe kind of recounting his time. And just like, he was blindsided both times. Like, he's like, I was, the franchise leader in passing yards for 3 different organizations. And you just kind of, you lose out. And it happens to the best. And you've seen it with Joe Montana in San Francisco. You saw it with Peyton Manning in Indianapolis. You saw it with Brett Favre in Green Bay. You know what I mean? It's at some point, and Belichick is the, fair or not, the unemotional guy that cuts everybody. Willie McGinnis, Laura Malloy, Ty Law, like everybody.
Yeah.
Mike Vrabel, the only lucky guy that finished his career, front end to back end defensively at least, was Teddy Bruschi and Troy Brown and Kevin Falk. There's only a few, and those guys had to take pay cuts and roll cuts and everything. You think Brady's going to take a roll cut? He's
Nope.
taking the pay cuts. I don't think he's going to.
He's taking the pay cuts to ensure his role with the Patriots is always there.
Exactly. So
that is interesting. So I think Des' specific question was, do you think Bill Belichick would do it? I agree. Absolutely, he would do it.
He would.
If Brady was, is it going to happen?
I don't think
I'm
so.
going to say 99% no.
I'm going to say no.
But again, 39 years old, that is something to keep in the back of your mind.
But then also you have to keep in the mind of Brady is perhaps the greatest player who performs at the highest level with a chip on his shoulder.
When he's losing, that's when he's at
When
his best.
when people don't believe in him, he is literally at his best.
Just look at the beginning of his career.
His draft,
Yeah.
Spygate,
Oh yeah, great point.
like all
Great
that type
point.
of stuff. So
And guess what? He's coming back from serving a 4-game suspension on Deflategate. You
thank
think
you.
he's going to be pumped?
No.
You think he's going to be fired
and
up?
then also for a team that's 3-0 without him and people saying he is a system quarterback.
Yeah.
You don't think Tom Brady reads those headlines?
He's sitting on the toilet, like watching the games on his iPad, eating avocado ice cream, just going, wow, when I get back.
3,000 crunches.
While he's on the toilet.
I think that actually transitions us nicely into a short debate that actually I
Yes.
think you wanted to get into.
Yeah.
And it ties in with Brady, it ties with the Patriots, it ties in with
Specifically.
Belichick.
Belichick.
And why don't you? I'll let you take it away from me.
Okay, so as this is a question, or not a question, but a statement brought up by the great Michael Irvin.
Love Michael Irvin.
Yeah.
Love.
I know you do. The former Cowboys wide receiver great.
Yes.
Part of the trifecta on those Super Bowl winning teams. He said that if the Patriots win Thursday night with a third string quarterback, and he already thought Bill Belichick was the best, but
Yeah,
he
he
said
did.
he would rename his own 3 personal Lombardi trophies as the Belichick trophies. So my question is, should the Lombardi trophy be renamed the Belichick trophy?
I say no. I say no. It's hilarious to think about.
Yeah,
but I also,
it really is.
But I also think the name's too old. Like, it's been the Lombardi Trophy for so long. It would sound weird if it was like the Belichick Trophy. Maybe in like if football's around in 50 years and Belichick is like deceased at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, so you're saying he should be dead before we
Not
rename it.
even dead.
I
but-
understand, Juna.
But I just think a lot of time has to pass, like from when he actually played. It has to become more of like mythical and like what he's done like stands the test of time. Because yes, he's great right now, but there are some coaches that could approach it. He's not he's only 4th in wins. He only has 4 Super Bowls.
Only 4 Super Bowls.
You know what I mean? So there are coaches with better, like, unless he's like unanimously the best and everything. Like Lombardi, it's called the Lombardi Trophy because they won so many championships before the Super Bowls came about.
Yeah.
He was innovative, within the game. Obviously, it was
He won
young.
those first 2?
He won the first 2 Super Bowls, and they
Yeah.
had 10, NFL championships or whatever they were called before then. So I mean,
And he has some great Lombardi has a great philosophy too. Like if you read his biography, you'd learn a lot about life in general.
Right.
I'm very back and forth on this.
Yeah.
Do I think Belichick is the greatest coach ever? I'm biased, of course. I can't say that enough, but yes, I think he is. Should the Lombardi Trophy be renamed the Belichick Trophy? I think
I
I
don't-
don't know a few things. You'd have to
Right.
see what the state of. I think you're right. You'd have to wait a long time. You definitely can't do it before he retires, and I think you can't do it. And I was back and forth on this. I think you have to wait at least 20 years after he retires.
it's got to be a while.
And then you'd have to see what the state of football is at that point too.
Exactly.
There might not even be any football to talk about, so who cares?
I don't think it'd be bad if you like renamed like the Coach of the Year award the Belichick or something.
Yeah, maybe like a lesser.
Yeah, a lesser
Sure.
award, like a coaching related reward, just because I think he is one of the best coaches, and I think he's kind of proven that he can win multiple ways and really emphasizes everything.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. And he's
think
just
that's
great from top to bottom, X and O's to scouting. You know, I don't think there's a piece of
In cap management, I think that's one of the
Yeah.
most underrated parts of him.
there's not a piece of coaching and / we have to qualify that with GM that he doesn't do to an exceptional level that he overlooks. You know, so yeah, actually that'd be a great compromise. Maybe leave the Lombardi Trophy alone, because that's been around for.
Like, could you imagine
So
if
long.
in the NHL they renamed the cup anything other than the Stanley Cup? It'd be kind of weird, right?
Yeah, that would be strange.
You know?
Yeah, I read an argument a couple years ago about in baseball renaming the Cy Young Award because Cy Young, great pitcher, but the author of the article was making the argument that perhaps there are more deserving pitchers now with better legacies that you could rename that award after. But the same thing, it's been the Cy Young Award for so long. Let's say you were gonna rename it. I don't even know. Like
In Cy Young, almost like I think everybody that learns about the Cy Young Award learns about it before they know who Cy Young pitcher
correct.
was. You know what I mean?
I heard about the Cy Young Award and I didn't know
Who Cy Young was,
for a few
exactly.
years
Yeah,
after
for a
hearing
while,
it.
yeah.
So, and don't get me wrong, Cy Young, great pitcher. I think he still the all-time leader in wins. Don't quote me on that.
I don't think so.
Okay, so I'm not sure. He's up there, obviously. but-
Former Red Sox, great.
Yeah. So yeah, same thing. It would just be, I'm well for updating things, but maybe, we got to keep some tradition. It's a fine balance.
Just like they sing in Fiddler on the Roof. Tradition.
tradition.
Let's get to everything else.
Oh God, yeah, real quick.
Hey, I have a graphic for it.
Oh, you do? Okay,
It
good.
says-
It says everything
It
else.
says everything else.
Oh, nice.
That's true. We've been touching on the Red Sox.
Dancing around it.
They had 11 straight wins before Tuesday night. They lost,
Tonight.
sadly.
Yeah.
They've clinched the playoff spot, so they are going to make the postseason. So
They haven't clinched the division.
They're one game away from
Still
clinching
one-
the division.
one game, yeah.
Hopefully by next Tuesday they have that.
Yes, they should.
By the time we film our next episode, but it'll be interesting to see potential playoff spots. I know the NL. I think all the divisions are pretty set. I think it's the Cubs, the Nationals, and the Dodgers as your division winners. The wild card's still up for grabs. I think in the NL it's Cubs by far. And the only team that might surprise is the Dodgers. But I don't believe in the Dodgers in the postseason anyway. In the AL, honestly, I think it's the Red Sox. And then I think the only team that gives them trouble is Cleveland.
Oh, interesting.
I think the Indians with Francona and then some former Red Sox guys like
Interesting.
Mike Napoli and stuff. I think they could really. I wouldn't be surprised if the Red Sox lose in the ALCS to Cleveland.
Oh, interesting. So for the AL, for me, I feel like it could go anyway. I mean, I know the Red Sox
I just don't think the Rangers are
crushing
that good.
the ball. Yeah. Well, again, it's like I don't know. The postseason in baseball is so wonky. Like kind of like the NHL. You know the NHL postseason. Now I don't watch a lot of hockey, but I'm always seeing like eighth seeds get out the first 1 or 2 rounds. Like they're always upsetting teams and stuff.
Yeah.
It's not. I always feel like it's a crapshoot come
Right.
playoff time, which is awesome. It's very entertaining.
Yeah, I think with the AL specifically, like the 2 wildcard teams will most likely be the Orioles and the Blue Jays. I see no problem with either of those teams. The Rangers, I think, they're just kind of there. I don't think they're
They're a
spectacular in any spot. I think Cleveland is that one team that could give you troubles that you could struggle to hit against. You could struggle to get through their lineup. They have a playoff heavy type of lineup that can just give you problems. And then, if you're a Red Sox fan, David Price goes in and gives up 4 or 5 earned runs today. He's kind of trying. The last 2 games he hasn't looked great.
Right.
This is your guy who's supposed to be your number 2 starter, and he's a guy who notoriously has been crappy in the postseason. 2-7, bloated ERA. That you don't feel great going in with him. So.
That's why Porcello is your ace.
Yeah, Porcello's your one. Pomeranz won't pitch for the rest of the regular season. He's been scratched from his last lineup. We probably will only see him in the bullpen.
Yeah.
Who knows? Stephen Wright's I'm just going to guess we never see Stephen Wright for the rest of this year.
That sucks.
So it's either
that really sucks.
It's either Eduardo or Clay Buchholz is your 3 guy. Like, and how's that make
Who would you
feel?
pick? Who would you pick? Damn, who would you pick?
Probably
Buckholz, right?
yeah.
Because of the experience.
Yeah, I especially if you have Price as your 2, who's a wild card, you need someone who has your. Even if he only gives you 3 innings, at least it's boom or bust with Clay.
Yeah.
But
Not
it
good.
really is like it's either gonna be he's lost the game in those first 3 innings or he's
See,
won you the game.
and that's the reason why I think the AL is a crapshoot, because as good as the Red Sox have looked, you couldn't put it past the Blue Jays or the Orioles or the Rangers and obviously the Indians to just get through them, because you know what, like all it takes
guess
is a
you're
good
right.
pitching performance and a timely hits.
Maybe
Not
I'm
even timely
over-
hits, just beat up on the
Maybe I'm
pitchers.
overrating the Red Sox offense too.
It's just a whole different beast come playoff time.
Sure.
You know, and
You're
the
not
way
wrong.
the way that managers manage starting pitching and bullpens, it's so different. Like, first of all, starting pitchers are on a much shorter leash.
Yeah.
Like pulling starting pitchers at third, four after 3 or 4 innings, very
It's
common.
the norm.
Yeah.
opposed
In
to-
fact, if you're not doing that and they're starting to look shaky, then the manager's costing you the game. Like, the manager's going to get the heat. So it's just such a different. It's such a. For the AL, I think it's such a crapshoot, which will make it really fun. Hopefully, it falls in our favor.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. We haven't had postseason baseball for the Red Sox since they won the World Series in 2013.
Yeah.
So it'll be nice to see that again.
Do it for Ortiz.
I mean, it's gonna be the Cubs, but
Do it for Ortiz. God damn it.
so real quick, the big news in UFC: Conor McGregor is fighting again November 12th, UFC 205 against Eddie Alvarez. Ravi texted me today and is like, you gotta point out that I was right about this. Well, I'm pretty sure, Ravi, you said it was going to be Thanksgiving or Christmas, which it's not. And I think you said the fight would be the rematch between.
Well, he said around Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
It's November 12th. But it's the UFC event. You know what I'm saying? I know it's not Thanksgiving.
Yeah. But
we can give him a little slack.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Don't take away his only joy in doing this podcast.
Oh my!
He'll never do it again otherwise.
But also, didn't he say that would be the rematch between McGregor?
Oh, did he?
I can't remember specifically.
Oh, with he might have. I don't. We'd have to pull up the tape.
We'd have to pull the tape up, but I mean,
It's not worth
we'll
it.
give him I'd say 20%.
20%. Nice.
20% correct.
Yeah, well,
on
it's
that.
better than me or you, which are 0%.
But I think shout out to Matt. I think he called it exactly. I think he said 205 with Alvarez.
Oh wow.
And that's what happened.
Yeah.
1 week later. So
Oh yeah, that's right. Last week, that's
I
exactly
think
what
that's
he said.
exactly
Yeah.
what he said. So
Good call.
it'll be good to see McGregor again. They're moving down he's
To
moving-
lightweight 155.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see that. I'm gonna guess we're gonna just see the usual McGregor.
it's kind of weird because I hope I'm not wrong, but we haven't seen McGregor fight at 155 in the UFC. He went from 145 up to 170 welterweight for his last 2 fights.
So he jumped 2
So
classes.
he was scheduled to fight.
But isn't he the defending champion? Isn't this a belt? A belt?
Not for lightweight, no. So he's the champ at 145. We'd have to look it up. I don't know what are they ruling for his
Belt.
His belt. Maybe it's maybe he's gonna fight here and then he either has to vacate or go down to fight at 145. We should look that up before next episode.
Yeah, for
'cause
sure.
That's pretty kind of important. But
Yeah, so that'd be a fun fight to see. And then, speaking of sports, we really are now into the heat of sports. Like we have,
we're getting back into it.
we
yeah.
have hockey preseason started. I think we're 2 games in for Bruins. And every team's played at least 1 preseason game, going on to 2 now that the World Cup stuff is kind of finishing up for hockey. And speaking of our Boston teams, the Bruins signed Brad Marchand to an 8-year, $49 million contract extension.
years.
NHL's always longer.
Yeah.
It's
Also, I
always
think
those long deals.
I think I saw a story saying that after he signed that deal, he hit the game-winning goal for Canada. I want to say they were saying
might
to celebrate his new signing. I don't think he did to
Marchand.
celebrate the new signing. I think he did it because
He wanted to
he's
win.
on the Canadian team. Right. He's a
Perhaps.
competitor, but
Maybe.
it's interesting.
Maybe.
But yeah,
and
so
then-
props to Marchand.
Marchand.
I know a lot about hockey.
I've always liked Marshawn, so I'm glad they've kind of re-signed him and kept him. I think he's your second best player behind Bergeron.
Okay, nice.
For me. And then obviously Celtics preseason starting up, all the stories on, how good will Al Horford be and will he really elevate the Celtics? Horford actually tempered expectations. He's like, I don't think I'm the guy. I think I'm a piece, but, we're a team and everything.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he's going to be a big piece. Yeah. I know he says he's a piece, but he's going to be a big piece.
Quite literally.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
so
very literally.
That'll be fun. So we'll have... I know we've talked a lot of football through these first 10 episodes, but we will be talking specifically a lot more basketball. I know you're a big basketball guy. I know, I like basketball. We'll be talking some hockey.
We'll be bringing in Matt for some of those, I'm sure.
Yeah, and then, obviously baseball preseason. We got some UFC stuff. So very exciting stuff ahead of time. And then finally, I don't really want to end it on a somber note, but I think this is worth talking about and mentioning. Sadly, pitching ace from the Miami Marlins this past weekend, Sunday, I believe. Sadly, Jose Fernandez passed away in a boating accident. 24-year-old phenom. Pitcher was on his way to having a Cy Young caliber year, and he sadly died in a boating accident at 24 years old. I believe him and his girlfriend had announced literally days before that they were expecting a child.
She was not in the accident.
No, she was not. So she is safe and fine. I believe it was himself and two friends.
Yeah, and I think
that passed.
I think one other one died, and then did both of them?
I thought
all three.
I'm not sure.
That's a heartbreaking story, and it's hit not just Major League Baseball, but the sporting world very hard. They canceled the game.
They canceled that Marlins game, and then they had that first game back yesterday. All the Marlins players wore the number 16. And then there was a really cool moment where D. Gordon
hit his first home run.
Hit his first home run of the year. I think he was the first. I think he's the leadoff guy for the Marlins.
That's like one of Jose Fernandez's best friends.
Yeah, and then you could see the emotion on his face, and then he kind of broke down as he went to the dugout
and the whole team.
And it's just one of those those cool. It was cool is probably the wrong word, but just one of those moments in sports where you just kind of
it transcended sports.
It transcends everything. Honestly, that for a team that's devastated by this and for that to come around and both teams really, I think they faced the Mets and the Mets were very supportive and they came on the field and there was like a lot of paid respect and all that, and I know a lot of former and current Red Sox players have had relationships with Jose Fernandez, David Ortiz being one of them. I know Jose looked up to Ortiz. That was the first jersey apparently he bought when he came to the U.S. Pedro had a good relationship with him being a pitcher, obviously, as well.
And that's the worst part about it is that Jose isn't. He's going to be missed, obviously, because of the skill and the talent that was on the mound. Yeah. But the main reason that he's going to be missed is that he brought an energy, a youthfulness, and a joyfulness to the game.
Yeah.
He has a fascinating story, too. He tried to defect from Cuba, I think, 2 times.
I think he spent a year in jail.
He spent a year in jail.
It's crazy.
And then on the last time up, he saved his mother from drowning.
Yeah.
Just a fascinating story, and just such a character and such a life. Like he lived a full life. I shouldn't say that. Nobody lives a full life at 24 years old, but he lived a lot. He lived as much as he could. He lived every day.
To its
he
fullest.
pitched.
Yeah.
He pitched. Every time he pitched, it was like it was a playoff game.
Right.
And every time he pitched, Miami isn't the Miami Marlins aren't the best run organization. They do not sell out, but his game sold out.
Yeah. So. And props to the Marlins. They announced they're retiring his number. and I'm sure the MLB will do more to commemorate his memory and everything as we go through the postseason. And I'm sure a lot of these teams are dedicate their postseason runs to this guy and everything. And I mean, rightfully so. Like this, it's incomprehensible, honestly.
It was totally shocking.
Yeah.
The morning it happened, I couldn't believe what I was reading.
Yeah.
I was just like, this is bizarre.
And like you said, just it even transcends sports. Like Rob Gronkowski made comments about it. He who met Jose Fernandez and really looked up to him, and he was, a guy who plays a completely different sport was shocked by it. And
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of examples of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the show.
Oh man, we can't end like this.
Oh, you're right. We can't end like this. So
Go Red Sox.
go Red Sox.
Yeah, let's be honest. I mean, baseball, we're entering that, that part of the season, postseason baseball, very fun. Baseball, they say, more than any other sport, and what we just talked about really talks about is a game of moments.
Yeah.
D. Gordon's home run is, and the reason it's a game of moments is because, unlike other sports, it's very stop and go. So when something big happens, it's very easy to lock in on that moment.
Yeah.
So hopefully we have a postseason full of them coming up. Yeah, hopefully that's super entertaining. Obviously, football this upcoming week should be good. I think we're entering the first week of byes. I think
First
the
week
Eagles
of
have a
byes
bye.
and the first London game.
Oh, first London game. Who's playing in London?
It's going to be the riveting matchup of the
God.
Indianapolis Colts and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Wow.
That will be at 6:30 Pacific Standard Time and 9:30 Eastern Standard Time.
My God.
You
Well,
know,
that's going to be a lot of jet lag for those players.
Haha, jag lag.
Jet lag. That was terrible.
Thank you.
But amazing.
So as always, thanks for watching. Please leave your comments below on YouTube, on Facebook. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us along if you like our sports takes, or if you like some of that entertainment-y stuff we talked about at the beginning of the beginning of the show, or like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Vine. We do some fun Vines every now and then. And send in your questions too. Our dad obviously sent in a great question. We've had some of our other friends send in questions over the weeks, but feel free to send it on Facebook, tweet us your videos, and we will incorporate it into the show and answer your questions. Or if you don't want to be on camera or anything, tweet us your questions. Leave it in the comment section, and we will get to it. We promise. So for Krishna and myself, this has been The Lateral.
Until next week.
What's next week?
Hopefully episode 11 if they don't pull the plug.
Yeah, I mean...
You never know. The producers, they're always watching. Wait, we are the producers.
That's right. Until Ravi gets back. He'll be back next week, folks. All right. Stay classy.
Bye.
Goodbye.